like men kissing.
This is the personal note angle, except I've got a new mic. The blue razor is here. It was not here, and I have short hair. We have a spoon though. I'm doing reviews now. As the years go by, I try my hardest to watch more films in the year I'm currently in, with 2023 being the year I probably watched the most in. Oh wow, I've watched so many movies this year. Gosh, so many. Oh, is that it? I thought I watched more than that. This is more apparent when it comes to watching films in theatres. So far in 2024, I've only watched 4 movies, which were Dune Part 2, Monkey Man, The Fall Guy, and the film I wanted to talk about today, Challenges. And honestly, it's my favourite movie of the year. Sorry, Dune heads. If it makes you feel bad, this one's got Zendaya in it too. Challenges in its simplest terms is about a love triangle between 3 tennis players. Tashi is coaching her husband Art, who is going up against his old best friend Patrick, who is also her ex. Now, considering the fact that I watched this opening day and waited 4 to 5 weeks to release this review, the hype is slightly gone. I also had a disagreement in the group chat with them calling it mid, and yeah, I held my own pretty well. They'll start coughing in a few days. Honestly, it's good to just think about things before giving an opinion on it. I think a jokey Letterboxd review is enough, so you can release the 1,000-word essay for later. This video will be a review/analysis of the film. I mean, analysis is an overstatement, but I do go into detail about what I like the most about the film and how it's not just some average sports movie. Yeah, this filming is just to, like, you know, fuck with the format. You know, I'm just trying new things. So yeah. That's what this is. The director of this is Luca Guadagnino, a director I quite like. The first thing I watched of his was the coming of age miniseries We Are Who We Are, which I really liked, even when there was a little too much being shown. I could also say the same for Call Me By Your Name, which handled similar themes. Overall, when it comes to Luca's work, there's still a lot more I need to watch, but I get his shtick, you know? Especially from reoccurring themes with youth and sexuality, both in a orientation sense and a pure erotic sense. Which is why Challenges is a very interesting movie for him to direct, because it's somewhat different from his other films, but it still has that eroticism that's present in the films he directs. The cinematography is what you'd expect from a Luca Guadagnino film, while also being more visually diverse for the type of film it is. Cinematographer Siyumbu Mukdiprom really hit out the park with this one. The cinematography style is filled with natural lighting and static shots that let the environments and performances breathe. And a lot of that is seen in this film, but having that this is a tennis film, there's a lot more variety to the camera work, especially in the tennis matches. They go from POV shots of the characters to "oh my god, I'm the ball" shots. There was also a lot of brilliant crane shots. One that comes to mind is the opening scene where they do this really impressive crane across the court to a medium close-up. What also intensified the shot was that it's the first time we hear the score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Because when it showed that shot mixed with the track Match Point, I was like, yeah, here we go. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross have yet to disappoint me with their scoring. Their scores are filled with electronic drums and synths that can either be unsettling or super upbeat. From David Fincher films to, I guess, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Soul, a bunch of other stuff. What else?
Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah, I said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Challenger's score is filled with techno dance music out of a club scene in a Michael Mann movie. That's such a weird description, but it makes sense, honestly. Which shouldn't work, but absolutely does at the same time. Songs like Match Point perfectly fit the intensity of the tennis while having a somewhat commercial feel, which kind of matches the sport. But then you have songs like Loaf. That's just a calm, arpeggiated piano with slowly quiet vocal chops that sound quite like a siren. Which makes sense for the scene it first appears in, which is the beach scene. Challenges stars Zendaya, Mike Faced and Josh O'Connor, and all 3 of them are brilliant in this. The film has the main three play as their teenage selves as well as their adult selves, and I think they do a very good job at playing their youth to their late 30s or early 30s. Same goes for their tennis playing skills. I don't necessarily play the sport, but it looked like they were playing it. This was the first time I've properly seen Mike faced in a film. I haven't seen the West Side Story remake, but after watching him in this, he's probably gonna be the best part of it. I thought he was pretty good as his character art. He kind of plays this nice guy, but not at the same time. I don't know if that's a good interpretation of his character, but you get what I mean. Same goes for Josh O'Connor as Patrick, who I've seen around, but have only seen him in Emma and I think Peaky Blinders. La Chimera's in my watch list. He plays both the best friend and foil to Art, both personality wise and financially as well. Both of them were really good in this film. I especially loved all the scenes where they were both on screen together, whether it was a flashback scene or the tennis match itself. You really feel the connection between the two even when they hate each other. There are even times where you question their relationship with the little things. But by far the best performance in this movie is Zendaya. This role could have only been played by an actress like Zendaya. Stuff like Euphoria, Dune, not MCU Spider-Man, I won't elaborate. She's really starting to show her acting chops. But even with those roles, it feels like she hasn't had her quintessential performance. Kinda like what Greg Araki said a few months ago. Let's look at this dumb little article. The upside of being an it girl is getting first dibs on every script, doing the Hollywood rounds. The downside is landing roles for which you haven't the comparable qualification. But yeah, I really like Zendaya as Tashi Duncan. Her playing this beautiful but narcissistic character that the two male leads swoon over is a pretty good role for someone like her. Because it's Zendaya. She also plays a role to where you feel empathy for her even with the shit that happens in this film. In the tennis match scene, she just has to sit there but still says so much. And yeah, Zendaya was pretty good. The screenplay was written by Justin Kuritzkes, and for someone that hasn't had that much major screenwriting credits, this screenplay is pretty solid. The script has a very interesting structure, especially compared to how it was portrayed in the trailers. The way it goes backwards and forwards in time depending on the information given was very unexpected. It would be like, oh, remember when this happened? And turns out this big event happened before the beginning. But then they'd be like, oh, this happened. But at the same time, that last thing was happening. You could say the structure is like a tennis match. This is really awkward, I'm sorry. This makes rewatching any scene from this film way more interesting. Sure, when you first watch it, you're like, oh, Tashi's the villain. But all three of them do somewhat sneaky things, and that's what makes the film so engaging. Another great thing in this script are the visual motifs. This can be said about the chewing gum or the churros to a small extent. You could even talk about the little things like switching shirts and that. A very big example of this is Art's very specific serve, where he puts the ball in on the racket. I don't know what it's called. Even though it's something anyone would notice, it feels like something that represents Art and Patrick's relationship and how close they are, especially with how it's used later on in the film. Which leads me to talk about the characters and the love triangle itself. You know what the funniest thing about this film is? The other characters don't really matter. The plot only focusing on the three adds so much more weight to the love triangle plot. This should be a bad thing, but it oddly works. The love triangle plot in most media is very annoying, because most of the time the writer has already made up their mind on who they want to get together with. It's annoying in movies, and it's even more annoying in TV shows. But somehow, Challengers has the best triangle I've actually seen, because like most triangles, all the points touch. This leads to an interesting examination of the different dynamics. I think what makes this love triangle different is how it's presented, because it's both about their dedication to tennis but also their dedication to Tashi. She just cares mostly about tennis but also likes fucking with these guys and wants them to get better at tennis. Lines like, what makes you think I want somebody to fall in love with me, to you're not a member of my fan club, are just straight up crazy, bro. I mean, if you got like a don kink, which if you have a crush on Zendaya, you probably do. You love this. You love this. I love this. And don't get me started on the bedroom scene. I'm so happy they didn't show all of the scene in the trailers because I knew what was gonna happen, but I was still surprised while watching it in the theater. I think one of my favorite scenes of the movie is the beach scene, where Tashi is talking with Art and Patrick about what tennis means to her and how it's the equivalent of falling in love. And it kind of hit me that the match throughout the movie is really just Art and Patrick learning not to just play real tennis, but to love each other again. I know some Fujoshis might wish for more, you know, churro munching, but that's what the love story between the two is. Tashi basically got these two to feel that love for tennis that she feels, both intentionally and unintentionally. It's only until the last few minutes where they finally realize, hey, the homies over hoes. The ecstatic tennis footage aren't just there to look cool, like, oh, the camera's the ball? How cliche. Like, I've only met like one person that actually hated the fucking, the way they filmed the tennis. Like, what?
They'll start coughing in a few days.
I think the constantly changing visuals just help illustrate that point even more. All this matched with the amazing Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross score kept me intrigued till the very end. This makes the last few minutes of the match so great to me, because not only does Art feel it, or Patrick feel it, or even Tashi feel it, but you do too, making it one of the most exhilarating movie experiences I've had in a while. The film was good. I haven't watched the film grinning from ear to ear like I have with Challenges. I honestly wanted to give it a second watch, but I'm broke. Never mind, that shit was put on digital, not even 30 days from release. Ah, whatever, at least I got some footage to use. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with the film. Like, at its worst, it's really cheesy. But I like some cheese, you know? It's Gouda. Is that funny? While the film didn't have any unique ideas, the ideas that they chose to mix made for a very interesting and unique story that mixed elements that you wouldn't really expect to be mixed, even if those elements are just like, tennis is like sex. But yeah, my rating could go up because I like the film that much, but at the moment I'm just gonna give it a 9 out of 10. We did it, guys. We reached 2 subscribers. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video and just watching in general, you know. That last video, the DVD menus video, got a lot of views and it's now my most viewed video, and I just wanted to thank you guys all for watching. She did the same for the space vid. I have one more big video essay to release. Hopefully that'll be in June or July, no later, because I've got the script, but it's very messy and very unfocused. But now that I've had time to think about it, I'm able to finish it, so you will expect that in no time. I've also gone back into screenwriting, so that's cool. So that also pushed back the making of some videos. I guess this is time to just say, check out my other socials. Follow the Letterboxd if you want a reason to hate my movie opinions. But yeah, like and subscribe. I am filming the funny bits now. Booze.